Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, you dislike, or even if you just want to outsmart me on something I said, go ahead, shoot us a call, 219-413-9405, and we will play your take back on air for our next episode. Now, look, man, it's been a lot going on, but something in particular, let's touch on it first. Let's jump straight into it. I don't want to waste no time. We got a lot to cover today, so let's do it. The former Suns GM, Ryan McDonough, said James Harden could potentially be out of the league if this does not work with the Los Angeles Clippers. So as we talked about last week, we mentioned that James Harden, he was traded to the Clippers. As we know by now, Clippers have a loaded squad, all of that. But in terms of James Harden being out of the league, I 1000% agree that James Harden could be out of the league if this does not work with the Los Angeles Clippers. Listen here, James Harden has seen 4 different teams since 2019 and has not reached the finals since he played with Kevin Durant back in 2012. Since those Oklahoma City Thunder days, it's been quite some time. And then another reason that I'm a firm believer that James Harden could really be out of the league is that his value has tremendously decreased from the amount of trades he's requested and the minimal impact he's had on each of those teams that he's played on in the past 4 years since 2019. Through all of those past 4 seasons, despite how good the team was, despite his production to the team, he has not been able to get to the conference finals. And for someone who is switching teams year after year, going to play with another great team after another great team, and you're still not going to the finals, still not getting over that hump, it makes no sense to me. And then this tells me everything I need to know about him being a team guy, because clearly he's not a team guy in this situation. I don't want a guy like that in my locker room if I know he's going to up and leave every season. Why would I build around that? What desire is there for me to really try and bring pieces to help this star if I know he's going to leave every season, if I know he's gone after 8 months? No GM wants somebody like that at all. It's impossible to build a franchise around. And if the team actually commits to him and play for him, he's just going to up and leave. So that tells me everything I need to know about him being a teammate. I don't want that kind of drama on my team. I don't want that kind of impact. I don't need that kind of mojo around my team. And my third point here, James Harden is not a franchise player at this point in his career. He's on the back end of his career. Let's just be real about the situation, bro. This is not the James Harden that we've seen in Houston. This is not the James Harden that we know from being the MVP of the league. James Harden, those days are done. He is on the back end of his career. I'm not saying James Harden is not a bucket. I understand what he can do to the game. I understand how he can help guys on the floor. That is not out of my mind. I know he's a bucket. He can score the ball. He can still give you a step back. But in terms of turning your franchise around, James Harden is not doing that. Let's get serious here. A lot of the guys that we grew up watching and that we loved so much, LeBron, the KDs, look at where they are right now. A lot of those people are hurt. They sitting on a bench game after game. They can barely get you 5 games straight. They're aging, and you have to understand that. You got to come to that realization, because it's not adding up. And for James Harden, to me, he's become the guy, that popular guy or girl in school, in high school, who had all the nice clothes, who was real good looking, who was appealing to every single person. But as soon as they really got to know them, they're like, oh, damn, this person low-key kind of trash. Their personality is boo-boo, or they kind of evil at heart. I mean, damn, they can't take a joke. They don't have a sense of humor. This is trash. To me, that's what James Harden is becoming around the league. Like, damn near, look, let's call it for what it is, bro. He's becoming a hoe around the league. Let's be real about the situation. I mean, the man ain't doing nothing for no other team right now. He's bringing his little bit of fans that he has there, but I mean, you start to realize and you start to peep game what kind of person this guy or girl is in the scenario. We'll put it that way. But for James Harden, if we're reverting it back to the NBA, you're starting to realize what kind of player he is at this point in his career. GMs are catching on to the fact that he's only going to play with this team for 1 year, or he's only going here to have this sort of success, or whatever the case is. He's in no long-term relationship with no organization. You're beginning to realize that with all these different teams. And it just really blows my mind, because typically NBA guys, they try and avoid all of these different trades. Usually when a guy is being tossed around team to team and being traded team to team, usually he's definitely getting out the league. He's going overseas, he's going to the G League. But it's interesting that James Harden is on the opposite end of this. He's the one requesting the trades. He's choosing to go team after team. To me, you're begging to get out the league at this point. So it's very interesting, man. But I don't know. I think Clippers still definitely going to be some frauds. But GMs and owners, it's not desirable to pick up any type of player like that, especially on the back end of their career. All right, look, so we got a spotlight highlight coming up here, man. Look, I have a great guy. This dude, he's been balling out. You watch all these different teams. It's only so many people like this guy that really is going to give you maximum effort every single time he touches the floor, every time he steps on the floor. And he plays this really, really distinct role that is going to help a team win a championship. We've seen this team get to the conference finals. We've seen them get to the NBA finals a few times within the past 5 years. But let me tell you, bro, without Bam Adebayo, the Miami Heat would not be where they are today. So today, man, the spotlight highlight is going to Bam Adebayo for the Miami Heat. The man has been an animal. He covers all aspects of the game. You need to watch this guy if you want to find what each team needs for any organization. The man literally defends 1 through 5 on the basketball court. Can guard your point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and your center if needed. Within the first 6 games of the season, he was averaging 22 points per game, had 9 rebounds, and shot just above 50%. So he stepped up his game big time this season. That was one of the things that we talked about with Bam Adebayo a couple years back in the bubble, saying Jimmy Butler needs some help. He's going to need somebody else to help out with scoring and help out in all these other ways. And damn it, we see that with Bam Adebayo right now. He's always available, being healthy. So he's a huge asset to his team. And man, I just got to give kudos to this guy, because he has been fantastic over the past few years. He's a dirty work type of guy. He's going to get down and dirty, make sure the job gets done whenever it's needed. And for any team looking to win a championship, you need that guy. No matter what team you bring up that has won a championship, they all has had that guy who is going to do the dirty work and help them win. You look at the Golden State Warriors, obviously Draymond Green. You look at the Denver Nuggets, they have Aaron Gordon there who's doing the dirty work. All these fantastic dynasties and these championship teams have always had a guy who is going to play cleanup man and help out the team in any area that needs to be picked up. And Bam Adebayo, damn it, that man has been balling. He deserves this spotlight highlight. So go check him out with the Miami Heat and watch a great basketball player go to work. Now, the spotlight highlight team, let's switch it up a little bit, because this team here, I'm loving what I'm seeing from them as well. They're very young. They're not getting a lot of hype because they are in the Western Conference. And we know the Western Conference is very star-studded right now. All these other teams, the Suns, the Lakers, the Warriors, all these cool teams, the Clippers now. But the Dallas Mavericks have been on pace to really, really make a difference in their franchise right now. Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, the new person they just added, but Hardaway Jr., he's also another great aspect from there. But they made some trades. Long story short, man, the Dallas Mavericks, these boys have been balling. They deserve the spotlight highlight. They're on to the best start of the NBA season in 19 years, starting off 6-1, even though they just lost the other day, which was okay. They had 4 players averaging 15 or more points per game within the first 7 games of the season. That offense is very free-flowing. I noticed on defense, which is really, really a tough spot for them, because they don't play the best defense. Even personnel-wise, they don't have the best defense to guard a lot of different teams. However, I've noticed from the coaching spot from Jason Kidd, He's done a great job at putting his team in different zones throughout the game to make sure they pick up on the defensive toe, which is great on his behalf because you know your team is not very defensively sound, but yet you're making adjustments to get them over the hump and get them over that challenge of being defensively short, I should say. So we love to see this team go to work. They're very entertaining to watch as well. As I mentioned, you got Luka Doncic and Kyrie over there, and they've been doing their thing. So I'm happy what I'm seeing with the Dallas Mavericks right now, and I look forward to watching them this season. I don't think they'll be like a huge hit or anything, or a team that's gonna really make something happen in the postseason. But I will say, as of now, they have a good shot. They definitely have a good shot with the addition of Grant Williams there as well. Like, he's been playing very well. He was one of those players who was averaging over 15 points per game. So I'm looking forward to what I'm watching with the Dallas Mavericks. Got to keep my eye on them guys, and I think you should too. They're a fun team to watch, and they're kind of right under the radar. Not the best in the Western Conference, but all these other star-studded teams continue to get hurt. I guarantee you Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving and the rest of those guys are going to get them out of the playoffs. So you have to be careful. You have to keep an eye on this team. The Dallas Mavericks, kudos to them. All right, look, man, go ahead, shoot us a call if you heard something you agree with or disagree with, 219-413-9405, and we will play your take back on air for our next episode. It doesn't have to be, related to anything I've said or nothing like that, but look, I got a voicemail caller. I'm going to go ahead and play it. Let's hear what he had to say, and then we got some news for the run. Let's do it.
Yo, what's good? My name's Pete. Here's my
Pete,
take.
what's the deal?
The Bulls have too much going on. They need, in my opinion, DeMar DeRozan is good, but when he gets the ball, he's a black hole. He's not passing that ball. He doesn't play no defense. Trade him. You can get some great picks, start a little rebuild. Build the team around Zach LaVine. He's young enough where he can do that. Kobe White's a great player. Trade Patrick Williams as well.
Facts.
And you got yourself a good team right now. You got Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Vooch. You're going to get some nice, young, good big men. It's just time for the Bulls to start training away DeMar. I love DeMar. Great player, but I just don't think he's what the Bulls need,
I absolutely know.
That's it.
Hey, man, look, I appreciate you for shooting us a call, Pete, man. Hey, definitely. You was actually right on the money with a lot of that different stuff that you touched on, bro. And one of the things that stood out to me was DeMar DeRozan. You said DeMar DeRozan was a black hole. I don't think it's all bad with DeMar DeRozan, but it's just that the personnel on that team is not organized right now. Therefore, it makes DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine look like they're very stagnant in the offense because they don't have a lot of options. Bulls don't have any shooters right now. They don't have a guard that can really create. Yeah, Kobe White is all right, but he's not the answer. He's not a guy that's going to help on the perimeter scoring, and that's what they need. Somebody that's going to spread the floor and really open up the game for Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan to be able to score inside without clogging up the offense. That's a key piece right there, and I feel like that's really the main reason why DeMar DeRozan is very looking like he's a black hole, as you described it, or a black hole, very looking stagnant on the offensive end. So, I think those guys are struggling, and hey, they definitely need to blow it up, make some trades happen, get some draft picks, get rid of Patrick Williams. That's all included in there. So, look, hey, Pete, long story short, You was talking your shit, bro. you was talking your shit, man. I like what you were saying, bro. You was right on the nail. You hit it right on the nail. I like what you said. But anyway, look, anybody want to share a take? Go ahead, shoot us a call. 219-413-9405. Don't go anywhere. We have some news for the run coming up. University of Michigan is in the headlines. Jim Harbaugh is there. My Atlanta Falcons is up for discussion. The NCAA football is going on. OSU, MSU, LSU, Florida. Got some good games coming up. And as you know, the NFL definitely has some great matchups coming up. The Dallas Cowboys making some moves as well. Probably going to put up numbers on the Giants, but we'll get to it in a second. We'll get to it in just a second. So go ahead, stay tuned. We will be right back. All right, and news for the run. Let's get into it. So the University of Michigan football head coach Jim Harbaugh is expected to be banned for 3 games in connection to the program's sign stealing scandal. And in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys, they're signing Martavis Bryant after a 5-year absence. So Bryant, he was suspended back in 2018 for violating the NFL substance abuse policy. And the NFL recently brought him back, and the Dallas Cowboys, they signed him. All right, Kyler Murray for the Arizona Cardinals is making a return from injury this week in the NFL. Murray will start this Sunday for the Cardinals as they take on my Atlanta Falcons. And a couple of games to look forward to this weekend on Sunday. The Lions, they take on the Chargers in LA. The Cowboys, they will play the Giants in Texas. The Ravens, they will host the Cleveland Browns. The Bears, they will not play the Saints, but they did beat the Panthers 16-3 in Thursday night football. Last week, they did play the Saints. They fell short, but the Bears, they beat the Panthers this upcoming week. A couple of NCAA games you'll want to keep an eye out for. You got University of Tennessee playing Missouri, Ohio State playing MSU, LSU versus Florida, Oregon versus USC, Michigan versus Penn State, which is all great games. I really have my eye on this Oregon versus USC game. I think that's going to be huge, man. Oregon has looked great so far this season. Although the rankings don't show that Oregon is a top 5 team in the league, right, or in the NCAA right now, you have to watch the ball games. I'm telling you. Do not base everything on the rankings, because if you base every single thing on the rankings, you will be highly upset. You will lose a lot of money on parlays that you place. I'm telling you right now, you got to watch the games. The eye test is better than all the statistics you could read in the world. Oregon has a great defensive line. The offense is very, very nice. And I think they are definitely going to give USC the business. We saw USC lose against Washington last week, and it was very interesting. It was a shootout, but Washington, they've been great all year. They are a top 5 team right now, but man, it was a battle, truth be told. It was a battle, and I think this is going to be very similar for USC again. Obviously, we know they have a Heisman candidate who's probably not going to win it anymore, but we know they had Caleb Williams, who was really making a lot of noise to the start of the season, and he's still making a lot of noise because he is a great quarterback, but ultimately, that man can only do so much by himself. They got to do better. The pieces around them, the defense, they have to do better in order to help Caleb Williams out. And they have not been doing that. Long story short, I put it that way. All right, look, man, first things first. Let me clear my throat a little bit. First things first. The Atlanta Falcons, we know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we're great. You know, we suck right now. It's no secret to the world. If you keep up with the NFL, that's the reason you haven't heard anything about them. That's the reason I haven't talked about them, is because the Atlanta Falcons have been garbage. We're freaking 4-5 right now. 1-3 on the road. Can barely win at home. Can barely win games we're supposed to win. And the huge reasoning for all of this is because for some reason, we refuse to put the ball in the hands of our best players on the field. I don't know why we're doing that. Bijan Robinson is one of the best running backs in the NFL, but he hasn't had over 20 touches since week 3 of the NFL. We are in week 10. So what are we doing? What are we doing as an offense? We have all these weapons. Even Kyle Pitts, our first-round draft pick, who is an exceptional tight end, is barely touching the football. I know we don't have the best quarterback in the world to throw him the football, but damn it, he could at least touch the football on some type of way. Put him on drag routes, put him on slant routes, put him on anything that is going to get our star player the ball. Because if your star players are not touching the ball, your offense stands a very little chance of making big type of plays. Big time players make big time plays, and how the hell can we make big time plays if we're not getting the ball to our big time players? Like, this does not make sense to me. Kyle Pitts, who was a top receiver, a top prospect in the NFL, he's not even top 10 in receptions on his own team in the positions of tight ends alone. Not top 10 in the NFL in tight ends for receiving yards. It's ridiculous. Bijan Robinson didn't play one game. I think it was like week 7. We didn't know what happened. He was suited up. They didn't tell us he was sick. They didn't tell us he was injured. We know damn well he's not injured. But the talent we have on the offensive end, in terms of our skill guys, is just being wasted. It kills me. Things like this is why I was happy for Calvin Ridley that he actually left Atlanta and went somewhere where he could be used. Trevor Lawrence is using the hell out of Calvin Ridley right now. And the Jaguars, yeah, they're still so-and-so. They're figuring some things out. But damn it, he looks better over there than he ever did in Atlanta because we don't feed him the ball when he was in Atlanta. And we don't feed our stars the ball, which is going on right now. So I don't know how we can win ball games when that's not the case, man. When you get your big-time players the ball, it shifts the momentum in your offense. And man, you have to get them involved in any sport that you will ever watch, in any sport that you will play, whether we're talking about football, whether we're talking about basketball, whether we're talking about soccer. Your best player on the team is considered your best player on the team because of the impact they brings. Even if we're talking about corporate situations, someone who is constantly solving problems is viewed as a great team member because of the impact they bring to your team. How the hell can we make an impact in a game if we're not bringing in the best players and allowing them to make big plays? It's sickening. It's sickening for the Atlanta Falcons. Like, we play the Cardinals this week, and it's almost at a point where I don't even want us to be good anymore. If that makes sense, bro. Like, yeah, it sounds crazy. Like, well, that's your team. You should want them to win each Sunday. Yeah, I know it's my team. I want them to win each Sunday. But at this point, why should we even, try to settle for being somewhat mediocre? I know our division is in the conversation of possibly winning the NFC South, which I still believe we have a fair shot at doing. The only competition is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who've been also so-and-so throughout the season. But, I mean, if I had to bet on it right now, I'm not putting my money on the Atlanta Falcons. If I'm going on DraftKings or going on the Sharps app, I'm not putting my money on the Atlanta Falcons at all. In any game, even the Arizona Cardinals right now, I'm still timid to put my money on the Atlanta Falcons, simply because the Cardinals have Kyler Murray back. I've seen what Kyler Murray can do with bad offense, which he's been dealing with since he's entered the NFL pretty much. He had a weapon in DeAndre Hopkins at one point in time. He looked damn near decent. I'm not mad at him for what he looked like. It was okay. But ultimately, man, I do not have any faith in my Atlanta Falcons. And I don't think anybody else should out there too. We might as well just go ahead and get another good draft pick. Try and make some trades, make some changes in the front office, make some changes to the coaching staff. Whoever the hell is calling our offensive plays, we need to get his ass up out of there. Get him gone. Get him gone. Because it ain't working. It ain't working at all. I pray your NFL team does not have to experience this. Even though some of y'all have been experiencing this for years and years and years down the line, but this is just what we go through. It's tough sometimes, to be honest, bro. But look, anyway, man, quicker episode today, but I appreciate you guys for hanging with me, sticking with me, man. Again, if you heard something you agree with, disagree with, you like it, dislike, go ahead, shoot us a call, 219-413-9405, and we will play your take back on air for our next episode. Don't worry about if the event has passed. Don't worry about if it's not necessarily timing doesn't line up or whatever the case is. We'll make sure it's right for you. We'll make sure it's right for you. So go ahead, shoot us a call. We just want to hear from you. We just want to chop it up with you, man. We all love sports. We all love football, basketball, baseball, whatever the sport is. Go ahead, shoot us a call, man. And we appreciate it. But until then, we will be back later on next week. Send this to a cousin, a brother, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, a cousin, a coworker, anybody who likes sports or something that I talked about. And until then, we will be back later on next week. And so on and so on and so on.